Hey friends, Mario Cavallo here. It's Mr. Ma. You know what? Uh, it's a day to ponder so many incredible things. Um, yes, as the title of this live stream indicates, October is the month right about now, which marks my first time to China. And I don't mean that I came and left. I mean, I've been living here ever since. Um, in the first year that I came here, uh, which was 1999, unbelievable. I mean, it was just the last thing in the world I expected, and now I took the time this morning during my morning coffee to to put together my thoughts, to share with all of you, because it is a special occasion. I mean, hey, come on, it's not the 25th anniversary. That's going to be a big one. I'm going to have a big party. It's my boy's 10th birthday next week. 10's a big one. So we're going to have a big party for him up here. So, it's just the 22nd anniversary. But still, there's just so much to talk about. There's so many positive things about it for me to be thankful for. And then there's also so many difficult things to talk about, which are important to talk about on the occasion, right? It's what has made and shaped my life as a person whose life is shaped by the three countries that that represent who I am, my legacy as a family, as a person. My family originally coming from Italy and immigrating to the United States. And they never went back to Italy. Incredible. Think about that. And for me, I left the United States, and that was unexpected. I wasn't, as a young person, ever thinking about China. Just all of a sudden, I got invited, and I'll tell you by who in a moment. And then I left, and I arrived there and went back and forth quickly several times during the first 6 months or so. And then the third or fourth trip, I stayed. I mean, that was it. It was really quite incredible, and changed my life. Easy? No, hasn't been easy. Amazing? Absolutely. Fruitful and successful? Yes, now, but not always. I mean, unbelievable, So, first of all, I have to then begin by thanking my friend, Frank Lee in Los Angeles, who's originally from Chongqing, and I'm still in touch with. In fact, I'm going to contact him pretty quick here to say hello, because he's a gentleman from Chongqing while I was living in Los Angeles from 1996 to 1999, and he invited me to go to China. Wow. Chengdu. Wow. Where's Chengdu? Yeah, it's like, oh, it's in the middle of the country. It's very famous. I'm like, okay, I'd never heard of it, In where? Sichuan province. Sichuan, like Sichuan food? In America, they change. Why do they do that in America? I don't understand. They change the name. Like Sichuan is Sichuan. So then but the Americanized version of it is Sichuan, or maybe it's because it's the Cantonese, because it's a lot of Cantonese who immigrated to the United States, not a lot of the mainland Han. So they spell it Sichuan, Zechuan, Sichuan, not Sichuan. Okay, I don't know why, but anyway, I ended up in Chengdu, and at the time there was a United States consulate in Chengdu. Unfortunately, I just said at the time because they're not there anymore, as you know, from the political crap that's been going on. They closed it. So at the time, though, I ended up staying because Motorola asked me to start doing some corporate training work for them. So I got certified with Motorola, and that cemented my staying. And at the same time, China in 1999, you should recall, was just entering the WTO into 2000. And the U.S. consulate was starting up a program working with the Chengdu Foreign Affairs Office and Chongqing Chongqing MOFTEC, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, or something like that. They were all getting together to put together a nice seminar program for Chinese businesses to learn more about China entering the WTO. And I was one of the very few Americans in town at the time. Plus, they understood my background as a speaker and a communicator, so they invited me to be a part of that. And I spoke about my point of view as an American entrepreneur who had just come to China and literally knew nothing at the time. I didn't know at all what was going to happen in the next 20 years, and here we are, right? So absolutely incredible. I'm going to jump forward and jump backwards and jump forwards and jump backwards. Again, we want to talk about the highlights of the things that have been happening here in China, and I'm really happy to share with you some of the delightful things that have happened in my life all along the way. I'm going to take a moment when I remember to remember who joins me. I've got some. I didn't announce this and promote this. I usually don't. I'm not the smartest, most organized person in the world when it comes to YouTube, but I'm getting there and I'm figuring it out, and I'm now up to 4,000 subscribers. It's pretty good, but it hasn't been my main focus. It isn't my main focus, but it's an important channel in the different projects that I do, because everything that I do, I share guowai and guonei. Guowai means outside of China, and guonei means inside of China. And so for me, outside of China, YouTube is like it's like your own TV station. It's amazing, you know. So I really appreciate it, and I see Optimal Win join me in the chat room. Thank you, my friend. And there's Ken again. Thank you, Ken. Really appreciate your guys' support very, very much. Okay, so a lot of really important things to talk about, and just fun, cool things to talk about too. Okay, so because of my work in media, I've got invited to become a senior fellow researcher with the Center for China and Globalization. Thank you so much to CCG in Beijing. That has really made a big difference for my professional work and career. And just a few weeks back, they invited me not only to attend their 7th annual Globalization Forum, but also to speak at it in one of the tables. I'm honored. I'm honored, and I thank you very, very much. Secondly, in terms of one of my larger business partners, I also had gotten invited to become a thought leader on Huawei's global leadership platform. Many, many thanks to Huawei. Cannot thank you enough for having me do some great work for you, some articles and videos over this last year. Because you know what? Because you're a great company, and I know you're a great company. Okay. And we all know now at this point, I mean, the cat's out of the box, you know. You didn't do any of those things that they accused you of doing, spying and data and everything else. I mean, it's just that, you know, you didn't want to do those things. You know, the NSA asked you to install stuff in your chips and software so that you could participate in them wanting to spy on everyone, and you said no to them. And that's why they vilified you and are trying to push you out of the market. And they've hurt you a lot along the way. But Huawei is, again, a great and amazing company and will survive. And I'm delighted to be working with them. Thank you, Huawei. Then the next thing I want to, folks, I want to say thank you to, and this is a big one because it goes out to China's media, and that's a big echo space. Just regularly working with CCTV. I still have the documentary that I can't talk about because it's still in post-production that we did back in May. I was on the road with the film crew for 30 days, and I've already said too much. So stop right there. Thanks a lot to China Media Group, CCTV, CGTN, who I've been on so many of the shows, which I really, really appreciate with the many, many hosts. And as well to China Daily. Wow, so much great work I've done with China Daily, and a quick tribute, may he rest in peace. Recently, China Daily lost a real gem in Andrew Moody, who for the last, I think, 14 years or so was one of their top journalists who had produced many, many, many front page pieces. Andrew Moody had interviewed me for the second time. In fact, a few months ago, just a few weeks before his passing. I myself had no idea that he was sick. So a tribute to Andrew Moody with China Daily. Another, I know some people are going to ridicule me for saying this. I don't care. Chinese media is mostly accurate. I mean, just far more accurate than anybody wants to. If you want to know what's really going on, just read China Daily, read People's Daily, read Global Times. Now, Global Times enjoys being the nationalistic rah-rah of the group, that's for sure. Hu Xijin, he, rah, China, we will destroy you, Taiwan. Yeah, right, now, China. But they're the rhetorical one, but still good for them. Somebody needs to be the patriotic rhetorical one when the rest of the world is lying about you. I mean, it's true, right? I mean, they're saying China threatening Taiwan with warplanes. I mean, this is nonsense. You're being lied to, okay? Taiwan, the warplanes did not enter Taiwan's airspace. That's the truth, right? Okay, so, but in this video, I'm not going to go any more deeper into that. Just, folks, you're being lied to about so many things, and I'm glad to be one of the voices that helps to debunk all of that nonsense. Okay, so China Daily, People's Daily. Yeah, most of the stuff in People's Daily I've done has been in Chinese, but recently another piece, couple of pieces came out that were in English as well. We did a video interview, and same with Xinhua News. Fantastic. And then my very special piece, huge thanks to Keane and the team at Guangdong Daily, because they came all the way up to Shenyang from Guangdong to then interview me for a documentary, and we all got in the car together, and they drove me 3 hours south to Dandong to shoot our documentary along the Yalu River, Kwaguo Yalujiang. Why? Because of the Korean War, and again, with Kwaguo Yalujiang, CCTV primetime, their #1 epic TV series of the year last year, and they asked me to play General MacArthur, the lead role foreign role in that movie. Wow, that was incredible. So I'm blessed, and I'm thankful, and that's what I want to say. And I think we're just getting started, because many more great things are happening. I just got a call yesterday, the day before, to finally be invited to be part of a performance here in Shenyang at the Shenzhen Grand Theater. This is the beautiful Diamond Theater along the river, which you can just about see from where we live, just 5 minutes away. And there's going to be a program, a music program there, and I've been asked to perform. We're going to work on that. I'm excited about that because besides being a businessman and an entrepreneur, part of me is an entertainer, and I play jazz piano, and I love jazz piano. I'm going to do more jazz piano videos. I need and want to do more jazz piano videos. And I finally got the gear to do that. So I'm excited about that. As you know, I made a rebranding, and that's very important. I haven't even yet gotten a chance to reach out to all of my partners and supporters to talk about this. But I'm rebranding because I'm rebranding to Mr. Ma's China Adventures, which, there you go, right? The name itself indicates why I'm rebranding. It sounds more positive, and there's more of a focus on society and culture and the amazing things that are happening in China. People need to tell those stories. And when I was at the CCG event in Beijing to speak, the head of Wiley and Sons Publishing, Philip Kisray, said, we got to tell the China stories. There's so many positive stories. So that was the big reminder to me, because yes, we talk about the political topics, like on my War on China show with Fernando, and hats off to Fernando. We do that. It's important, but it's not the only thing in the world. And it's also dark and negative, and it's tiring. And the positive and important things matter very, very much. Hi, Jenny. Thanks very much. Albert, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Great to see your comments. Amazing to me. Bukusayila. This is it, Chinese. Bukusayila. So ridiculous, unbelievable. Okay, that I'm in China for 22 years. Wow, that's pretty amazing. It's also pretty amazing to think that your family, I go back and I think about this in the big picture, the meaning of all our lives and the legacy of all our lives before we finally go back to the good Lord up in heaven. My family back in Italy, hey, they left Italy and they never went back. Think about that for a second. I mean, these are the things people do, the decisions people make in their lives. It's absolutely unbelievable. So the other thing is that it was very funny how it worked out. In my mind, I had been building up, I'd been building up to the decision to shift more to the positive stories about cultures and about culture and society in China, and shift away, add more about culture and society. I'm not going to stop talking about the political topics because they're very important. But when I decided to do that, the earth, I could feel the earth started moving with me on that. So then I knew it was a move in the right direction. You know how that works, right? I could tell. I was like, oh yeah. And then one of our very good friends here in town, Yan, she approached me and she said, let's go to this vineyard. I'm like, what vineyard? What is she talking about? We're not going to leave China and go to Italy or France or Australia to go to a vineyard. She's, no, I'm joking, right? She said, no, it's the vineyard here in southern Liaoning province, just a couple hours south. I was like, what are you talking about? There's vineyards in southern Liaoning province. So it turns out 41 degrees north latitude, ladies and gentlemen, here's your wine education, is the perfect place to grow grapes, specifically to grow ice wine grapes, because at the end of the harvest, it gets really, really cold and the grapes are frozen, and that's when they get harvested and fermented. Amazing story. It's Hai Long Lean Vineyard, right here. They are right down there in southern Liaoning. And I went down, and their ice wine tastes so good. You think, well, where's Chinese wine? Nah, come on, Italy, France, Spain, Chile. Come on, don't talk to me about Chinese wine. Yes. Chinese wines that are overall in the area of dry reds, I wouldn't say that they do real well. Though there's very good dry reds from a couple of places. One down in Ningxia, and then there's another winery here in Liaoning who produces a French blue, which is a red. However, the main thing is that these ice wines are superb. Well, it's Chinese ice wine. How superb? Award-winning. Brussels Mondial 2021 award winner in Belgium. Now, when I heard that, to me, that was like, ka-ching, ding, ding, ding. That was exactly the kind of story that's Mr. Ma's China Adventures. I mean, here I am. I come up to Liaoning province because Shenyang is my wife's hometown. Here we are finally living in my wife's hometown. We've been here 3 years. We love Shenyang, and we're discovering Liaoning province. It's just the continuation of my 22 years in China. Mr. Ma's China Adventures. And I just went, yeah, and I just went this ice wine. And how do I say? Like a lot of businesses with COVID, then the business is struggling, but they've got like 1 million bottles worth of their amazing award-winning wines. Wow. So I went down and I said, look, I do marketing, I do communication, I do promotion outside of China, inside of China. I said, and I'm always looking for products. I've always wanted more products to sell, but products that I identify with and care about and like. And I said to them, number one, I'd love to promote your vineyard. I said, but number two, I want my own wine label. So since you have your wines, do you do that? Can we make a deal? Can I like earmark 10,000 bottles or something? And let's make a deal and earmark them with my wine label. I want my private stock. And they said, yeah, sure, absolutely, we can do that. We'd love to do that. We'd love to work with you. And we're doing that. I've been down to the vineyard twice now. They even have a beautiful hotel with Mongolian huts for the dinners, the whole lamb roast dinners. I mean, this is a great story. So I was like, all right, so now I need to come up with a name for the wines. And I also wanted to come up with a name for the new direction of my branding of what I'm doing, my work with all my clients and all of you following me. And I thought, my Chinese name is, and I was discussing this all along the way with my closest Chinese friends and my Chinese wife. I said, look, I said, I can't use Mario, like renaming of my YouTube channel. I'm like, and my other branding of, well, when people find me, what do they think of? What, Mario? No, I can't use my English name. Ma Yi Jun, my Chinese name. That's Ma Yi, is Yi da Li the Yi, that's Italian, and then Jun, Jun Ma the Jun, which means the hybrid horse. Okay, no, can't use a full name in Chinese. You don't use your full name unless it's like as an author. Well, I'm an author. Okay. So, but for the channel, you can't really use your full name. And then I thought what's popular in China and that people in the West would think is kind of fun is Mr. Ma. Okay. And that is. In China, everybody goes, oh, you're Mr. Ma, Mario. Oh, Mr. Ma. I mean, this is very common. It comes with a little bit of a smile. And so it's very highly recognizable branding. And I thought that makes sense to me. And then I thought, I want the wine label to also make sense because I'm choosing a very specific special wine. And I thought, wow, and down in Australia, they use bin numbers to do that. Perfect. Right away, it popped into my head. Mr. Ma's bin 88. And 88 is good numbers for China. 88 is lucky numbers and strong, powerful numbers for China. In fact, if you want the mobile phone number with a bunch of 8s in it in China, you pay extra for that. Like lots of extra, like thousands of RMB. Okay, so there it is, right? Can you see this? And let me try and get the right light. Yeah, the lighting is bad. Mr. Ma's bin 88. Maybe if I go now, the reflection from the window. Sorry, but there it is, my nice gold label on the Tai Long Lean ice wine. And more importantly, is look at this beautiful. This is the beautiful gift box. This wine retails for 1,600 RMB a bottle, and another one is 2,600 a bottle. Beautiful, 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 beautiful. So, I'm excited because it ends up being the first project that fits. So I felt like it was the universe saying, "Yep, go Mario. That's the direction that you want to go in." Promoting great stories and positive brands. We also ended up going down to Shouyan in southern Liaoning. So what's in Shouyan? Shouyan is the jade capital of China. I'm like, what? In southern Liaoning province? They're like, yeah. So I had no idea. So it's absolutely amazing. And then last week we went to Sunyard Vineyard. And I'm like, what's at Sunyard? What? Sunyard? Yeah. And this people said to me, oh, it's this French chateau. And underneath, I meet Mr. Wu, the owner. And underneath is literally a 1 kilometer walk down in the wine cellar. 1 kilometer walking through the wine cellar underneath the ground. Can you believe that? I mean, it was just incredible. How many hundreds of thousands of bottles of wine. So, and their red wine, they make ice wine as well, and their red wine is from the French blue grape. Okay. So again, great, amazing, positive, wonderful stories. And for October 30th, going to be performing in the Diamond Theater. Well, that's 97%. Some small possibility that won't confirm, but it's all good. So that's just fantastic. And I'm looking at my notes here. I'm kind of highlighting the things that I feel so happy about and thankful for, but at the same time, they are the stories about China. I'm so thankful. I met Fernando, who I thought of the idea for the War on China show, and I immediately also thought, I don't want to do this alone. And he's so competent as a producer with his YouTube channel, Fermube. And I immediately talked to him and I said, look, I want you to be the executive producer. We do the show together. And he immediately understood me. We're on the same page. He's doing that. So he's doing that, and I'm so grateful. So this YouTube channel and behind the scenes for Fernando So Helpful is my bridge to the outside world in terms of media. And recently I just got all the gear that I really need. You'll notice that Today, I'm on the mobile phone on StreamYard, and I'm with this amazing, nifty little wireless mic that clips right here, and the other part of it clips right into your phone. And then you're on StreamYard, which doesn't need a VPN. And Fernando helped me do all this and figure all this out. Just so thanks so much to Fernando. And I got the Canon 200D SLR from him and how to link it to the computer and shotgun microphone. Boya brand, by the way, is so reasonable and high quality professional equipment for microphones here in China, one of those amazing Chinese brands. So I just picked up a Boya shotgun mic to sit on top of my Canon 200D SLR, which I got from Fernando too. So again, what a great executive producer he is. I'm just thankful for all of these things happening when you can get, and if you can get to a point in your life where you realize you're doing well, life is good, and you don't have any problems. You got to make sure you stop for a moment and be thankful. And actually, that moment needs to be every day. You got to realize you're good. You know, people, we get in moods, right? Our moods go up and down. I have a wonderful, amazing wife, a beautiful 10-year-old boy. You know, my wife's mood goes up and down. My mood goes up and down. And it's like the purpose of our being together is to remind each other that we don't have any problems. Okay, and to be happy and appreciative and thank God for everything that we have. And you exist for each other for that purpose. You know, that's love, you know. And so that's it. That is what I want to say today. I'm just so grateful and so appreciative to all the people that have been a part of it, all the organizations, the companies, clients, friends, just amazing. And if I didn't think of you and didn't mention your name just now here in this, forgive me, because I'm thinking of you as well. Oh yeah, right. So a couple of others, which the other culmination, exactly what I just said, was I have to say thank you to Skylark Publishing, who published my third book in China and Hong Kong this year. So what a year it's been. You know, folks, there it is. Something's not right here, folks. This book is not an analytical book about China. I had to write this book to commemorate the 6-month period from January to June, where China was the #1 country in the world who identified, defeated, and is now perfectly managing the pandemic. And unfortunately, some of you outside of the country, you're not getting that story. But that's what China did. China's model is the most successful model in the world, and people in the West, because of politics, not only ignored it, but also lied to you about it, and also are attacking and blaming China. It's really pretty bad, and it's gross, actually. It's geopolitically speaking, it's a disgusting and disgraceful situation. And it's been instigated by the Western politicians. I'm really grossed out by that, as you know. So this book is bilingual. It's written in English and Chinese. So you got the English paragraph followed by the Chinese paragraph. So I did that on purpose to make it accessible to everyone. However, and thank you again to Skylark Publishing for publishing the first print edition, high quality hardcover, but it's quite limited. It's not, you know, it's published in Hong Kong. It's available in Hong Kong. We're getting some copies of it brought into the mainland China for events. So that's just the initial print. So obviously, no, it's not available yet in Amazon. It's not available yet in the United States. One step at a time. One step at a time, we're working on it. I sent out an amazing tweet. You know, this is just an example. I sent this out just maybe an hour ago. Let me read this to you. So I wonder, you make a deal with your neighbor. Let's say you do this, right? You make a deal with your neighbor to produce all your stuff. Oh, your neighbor doesn't want to produce their own stuff. Why not? Well, you provide cheap labor, and we want to make more money. Oh, okay, that's your reason. You make a deal with your neighbor to produce all your stuff. We're good so far, right? Fine. Your neighbor does so, and you make billions, as hoped. Now, this describes exactly what happened. I mean, the United States and exported all of its manufacturing to China, okay? And along the way, the corporations made billions more. They screwed the middle class and gutted the manufacturing industry in their own country, but that's beside the point. This is Wall Street greed and profits. Okay. You made a deal with your neighbor to produce all your stuff. Your neighbor does so, and you made billions as hoped. Meanwhile, though, I want to point out, your neighbor has 4 times your population. Yet your neighbor, their pollution is still less than half of your level of pollution, even though they have 4 times the population that your country has, and is now producing all your stuff. Get the double whammy here. The country is now producing all your stuff, so you're not doing any pollution. They're doing all the pollution. And the country also has its own levels of pollution because it has 4 times the population of your country. And pollution is a big concern of the whole world right now, absolutely, blah, 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 blah. It has been for decades, and it will continue to be. Yet your neighbor's pollution is still less than half of yours. And you point fingers at your bad neighbor. China bad, China evil, China pollutes more, the greatest polluter in the whole wide world. No, not per person, not per capita. You have China making all your stuff. Of course they pollute more than you do. They're the one that's cranking everything out for you. If you'd like them to send all the manufacturing back to your country and let it all be there, then within your border, your country will be making all that pollution. The total amount of the pollution would be the same. So you make a deal with your neighbor to produce all your stuff. Your neighbor does so, and you make billions as hoped. Your neighbor has 4 times your population and is making all your stuff now. Yet your neighbor's pollution, total pollution level, is less than half of yours per capita. Wow, that's just amazing. And that's what it is about China that I want you to understand. You're being lied to. Okay, you've just recently been told that the world is at the threat of war between the United States and Taiwan and China because Taiwan flew warplanes into Taiwan's airspace. And you've been lied to. Taiwan, I covered this in my previous video. Taiwan did not. China did not fly warplanes into Taiwan's international airspace. Okay? Period. Simply untrue. Every country has a 12-mile international space from their edge of their land out into the ocean, 12 miles, 12-mile international buffer zone. Taiwan's airplanes were China's warplanes were nowhere near there. Okay, end of discussion. Okay, so I won't go into more details about it because the ADIZ, which is they made it. It's a made-up story so that they could create lies like this. And on the occasion of my 22nd anniversary, the other things that you're being lied to about China, which is what I want to talk about in this video as well. You're told the Uyghurs are being destroyed and genocided. I mean, the word genocide is horrifying, folks. They use that word to freak you out. Okay, how could that possibly be true when the opposite is true? Okay, look, I live in China 22 years. Here's what I know. Chinese Han government, they're the main ethnic group of China. There's like 50 minority groups. Manzu minority are in southern Liaoning province. The cradle of Manzu culture, minority culture, in southern Liaoning province, I didn't even know was there, is Wuni Shan, Five Ladies Mountain. And it's only a 10-minute drive away from the Tai Longlin vineyard that I told you about earlier in the video. My vineyard, our vineyard. Amazing, wonderful cultural story as well. So then you have the Hui minority, and then you have the Uyghur minority, which is the Uyghurs, and then so many others. Okay, and I've gone a few years back to Yunnan, and there's other minorities. I can't remember the names. Folks, in China, minorities have preferential policies that protect them, not genocide that cleanses them out. Let me repeat, preferential policies that protect them. If you go to Xinjiang, where they're supposedly trying to destroy Uyghur culture, the very first thing that you find is everywhere you find 双语的牌子. What? Signs. 双 means double or twin or bilingual in China. 双语的 means two languages. All the signage in Xinjiang is in Uyghur language and in Mandarin. So they're showing respect for the Uyghur language there. There's Uyghur bookstores. Henry Kissinger's book and other books are in the Uyghur bookstore, translated into Uyghur language besides Mandarin language. Okay? Uyghur is taught in the schools. Period. End of story. None of this is in question. Chinese, when I talk to Chinese people about this, they go, yeah, we know. It's all just, Uyghurs are treated very well. Just because all minorities are treated well with these preferential policies, including free education, healthcare, other policies that are supportive of them, as a result of which 12 million Uyghurs now, 12.5 million, it's 20% higher population than existed 10 years ago. So populations do not go up when you commit genocide. When you commit genocide, you throw them all in the gas chamber like Hitler did, and you genocide them, or you blow them up with drones. None of that's happening in China. It's terrible. So you're being lied to about the Uyghurs. You're being lied to about Taiwan. You're being lied to about Hong Kong. Hong Kong got taken over by China and oppressive Chinese government. Okay. Folks, okay, Hong Kong was a peaceful place. Imagine I'm in Shenyang, lovely place, lovely city, 8 million people. And then all of a sudden, okay, there's people, small groups of activists committing violent crime. Now, when I say violent crime, I mean looting and destroying public property and assaulting people, including, as you know, lighting a guy on fire. Can you imagine that? I mean, this is violence, okay? And the Hong Kong police, in doing their best to push back on and stop the violence, which is what you do to keep your citizens safe, which would be the Hong Kong people, didn't kill one person over the course of an entire year of extremely violent protests. That's the facts, okay? When Hong Kong was first turned back to China from the British, who treated everybody like crap when they were in charge, okay? China was, the Hong Kong legislature was required to also pass a national security law. National security law. That's, again, protects national security. The Hong Kong legislature was required to pass that, and they kept waiting and hesitating. They didn't get it done. The Chinese mainland finally said, look, you got a lot of violence here. We've got to get it under control. We need to protect the people and the citizens and the sovereignty of our country, and Hong Kong as part of our country. We need to protect it. Sounds to me like what governments are supposed to do. Okay, so we need to get this national security law passed. You should have passed it 10 years ago. Now we're going to tell you, you got to get it done. Get it done. And they got it done. Folks, every country, every other country has national security law. Okay, and I mean, the United States has like a dozen national security laws. So what's the big deal? Okay, Australia had passed theirs, New Zealand passed theirs. Nobody makes a fuss. But when China passes theirs, oh, they say evil communism. So you see, folks, you're being lied to. Trust Mr. Ma, you're being lied to, for God's sake. It's just horrifying, you know? So 4 or 5 key points I want to cover, 4 or 5 more key points I want to cover in this video. The pollution rationing. Again, you're being lied to, okay? China's FDI, that's foreign direct investment into China, is higher than ever, okay? The surveys from the American Chamber of Commerce and the U.S.-China Business Council clearly indicate there's more interest and more investment into China now than ever before. So it's the opposite of what you're being told. Well, we got to get rid of China. No, nobody's getting rid of China. Everybody's turning to China because of what I keep saying to you from the very beginning. Okay, I've been saying this for almost a year now. China is the largest safe, stable, and successful and capable country on planet Earth right now. And all the smart people know that. I'm sorry that that bothers you. Hi, Susan. Hi, Albert. I'm going to go through these. Thanks, Susan. GN, thanks. Well, yeah, Australia, problems there. You know, all these problems, it's just terrible, aren't they? So, anyway, politicians making trouble. But what I'm saying to you right now, again, FDI is through the roof. China's exports are through the roof. That's why there's a power crunch, because China's exceeding the emissions levels, emission standards, targets that it intended to reach for 2021. But that's because China's exports have gone through the roof because the world is relying on China. Do you see what I mean? So it's a good thing for China's economy, but it's a bad thing for pollution. If my factory is supposed to make 1 million pieces of gear and put out 2 tons of pollution in the process, and that's the limit, if the world then asks my factory to put out 2 million pieces of gear, obviously I got a problem, because in order to meet that demand, my factory is going to end up putting out more than the 2 tons of pollution limit that was allotted to my factory for the year. Hence, Beijing says we can't go past the emissions targets for the year. They start clamping down on electricity. They start doing rolling blackouts like they do in California. This is the reasoning behind it. Now, there's more to the story. The national giant coal companies are being favored, and the smaller mining coal companies are being pushed out because they pollute more. Again, for a good reason. But this causes the economy, this causes problems in the economics of the situation, of course, some instability in the supply chain, causes the price of coal to go up, right? Understood. It's a problem. And the price of electricity factories is set. It's subsidized. So the government can't charge the factories anymore. The government could fill the gap, the shortage of electricity that they need to supply to the factories. They could fill that gap by purchasing solar off of the solar grid or wind energy off of the wind grid. You with me? I'm giving you a nice layman's explanation, you know, but they don't do that. They don't want to do that because the energy on the solar grid and the wind grid costs a lot more than the coal. But now the coal price has gone up. So it's a difficult situation. And the thing about it is it's right at the beginning. It's, you know, the beginning and the end. Here's a supply chain across the world, and it begins right here, man. This is the beginning of the supply chain. So people are concerned, and they should be concerned. I appreciate that. So that's what's going on with the power rationing situation, because China's economy is doing well. Okay, that's it, you know. And why and how is China's economy doing well? Because China's economy is doing so well because China's economy and society and people and government policies have gotten COVID completely under control, even Delta. Think about it. Okay, the last several days, each day there's about 20 new cases of COVID in China, all of them imported. A month ago, there was a breakout in Fujian. They quickly slammed that down, followed by 2 weeks ago, a breakout in Harbin. They quickly slammed that down. As I told you this, folks, I told you this a year and a half ago when all this began. China got it out of the whole country, and then when any local breakouts occur, the country will immediately clamp down, okay? And it's working superbly well. I need you to stop with me for a moment and say thank you. Thank you that China is doing well. Because could you imagine how bad the world would be right now if China also was doing as terribly as the rest of the world? Imagine if China was widespread with COVID and everything was getting shut down, you know, lockdowns and everything because of it. The economy would be a disaster. And then all those products that are being exported out to help your countries out there in the rest of the world would be a global disaster, worse than it already is. Okay, so we all want to be thankful to China for this. The other area where you're being lied to is the internet. I'll put up a link. I wrote up my report about the internet and security in China. Okay, you're being lied to. You're told that Chinese people have no access to the outside world. Again, this is like the Taiwan thing. It's a complete and total lie. Okay, 75 of the, and this is what's in my report, which I'm going to make available to everybody for like $2. I wrote a 35-page report. The world's most highly read news and life and culture websites, 75 of them, including sites like CNN, Fox News, CNBC, MSNBC. What more do you need to read? Drudge Report. What more do you need to read than those 5? If you want to get all the news in the entire world, all of those websites are available to any Chinese person in China in their browser, anytime they want, no VPN. Those websites are not blocked. That's it. You see what I mean? So any Chinese person, and there's lots of intelligent Chinese people who know how to read English very well, and they like and want to read English, they have full access to anything the world wants to know. There's over 75 of the world's top most important websites, including Christian websites, religious websites, that are not blocked. You can go from here in China. Inside the Great Firewall, which apparently has a lot of gaps in it, the Chinese government knows this. The Chinese government knows that Fox News and CNN are not blocked, and CNBC and MSNBC and on all these other websites. Come on, give me a break. So you're being lied to about that. Say, well, you're not allowed to criticize the government. You're being lied to about that too. Here's what you don't know. On my mobile phone, got Weibo and Douyin and Kuaishou and other apps. Okay, these are China's social media. Okay, like you have Twitter and Facebook. Okay, in China's social media, in Chinese, which is a world that you never enter because you don't read Chinese. Okay, in there is tons of people, millions and millions and millions of citizens complaining away, criticizing away. Okay, I don't know what else to tell you. That's what they're doing it. They're doing it, period, end of story. Okay, now, what you're not allowed to do, absolutely not, is say anything that might disrupt the society. Listen, I don't deny that. And I'm so glad. I think it's terrific. You're not allowed to say things that might disrupt the society. You're not allowed to go out on the street and start shouting, I hate China and I want to replace the Chinese government. You're not allowed to do that out on the street there because that's disruptive to the society. Okay? I mean, I don't know kind of like what other freedom you lost by living here in China. That's about the only one that I can think of. Okay? You're not allowed to criticize. I'm saying you're not allowed to cause instability. You are allowed to criticize. That's the way to describe it. I don't know what to tell you, man. You know, so you're being told, oh, you're not allowed to criticize the government. Well, if what's your purpose in going out on the street and saying you want to replace the government? Okay, first of all, why would you want to replace the government? They're the largest, safest, stable, successful, capable country on the planet right now because of the government. The CPC is ridiculously successful. Ridiculously successful. It's another thing you're being lied to about. People who are CPC members, they're like evil people. What are you talking about? A lot of them are Christians. They're quiet about it. Religion is not part of government here. Lots of people are spiritual, whether they're Christian or Buddhist. And it's your private life. This doesn't belong in the government. It doesn't belong in government sessions. Fine. Nobody cares. All these things you've been lied to. I mean, I know a certain person who's a certain boss of a certain wife, of a certain husband, of a certain person who's doing a live stream right now. And this person is just like an angel. This person's an angel. They help handicapped kids, and they're a member of the Chinese Communist Party. Communist Party of China, CPC. They're wonderful people. So, you know, it's like, oh, Democrats. Or you're a Democrat, you're evil. You're a Republican, you're evil because you're a Republican. No, maybe you're evil. Maybe you're a really wonderful, nice guy. I know you're getting what I'm saying. I know you are, and I appreciate it. What else are you being lied to about? Nothing. No, hundreds of things, but I've covered them all that I wanted to cover. Um, Thanks again, everybody. Thank you very, very much for being a part of my life and my 22nd anniversary here in China. So as far as that 22nd anniversary goes, yeah, it's right about now. It was right around October 10th. What's the date? Hang on. Yeah, so today's the 11th. It was right around the 11th. I can't quite remember. It makes me so mad because I saved the boarding pass onto my flight. It was China Southern Airlines into Guangzhou and then into Chongqing in October 1999. And it was right around the middle of the month. It might have been the 11th, it might have been the 13th, 15th, 17th, 19th, somewhere right in there. And I took a photo of the boarding pass and I had it for years. I mean, that was the day that I entered China. And then about 5 years later, when my life was, becoming obviously permanent in China, I dug it out and I found the boarding pass and I was like, wow, so this is an important date in my life. So I took a photo of it. Well, the photo of it ended up on a hard drive and then that hard drive broke, crashed, and I lost all that data. And that happened years ago. So I don't have the original boarding pass, so I don't remember exactly the date, but it was mid-October, and that's my 22nd year anniversary here in China. Thank you very much for joining me, sharing it with me. Please feel free to support my channel as you wish to at my PayPal. Subscribe if you don't already. Make your comments and ask your questions down in comments. I'd be always wonderfully happy to hear from you. People who troll my site and say rude, ridiculous things, whether it's in Twitter or YouTube, whatever, I immediately just delete your stuff. So don't even bother. I mean, if you're going to be ignorant and stupid and, a lot of times people write that stuff while they're drunk or high as well. I just don't pay any attention to it. I don't care at all about stupid comments criticizing me. It's not my problem. I know that the things that I share and talk about are based on what is apodeictic. Apodeictic is a wonderful Greek word which means certainly true, evidently true, evidently observable. There it is. And if it is, then that's what I'm telling you it is. And otherwise, I wouldn't say it. Okay, I would never represent something to you. If I say to you, this is evidently observably true and evident and there, then that's it. It's there. You can count on it. You can trust it. Absolutely. I love you. God bless you. And stick with me in all these commitments and the friendship that we have. And I'll catch you later, friends. Thanks. Bye-bye.